turns away from the agent and heads for her parked car. As she reaches the street, she looks over at Hannah on her porch and stops. Then, to Hannah's surprise, she crosses the street and walks toward her house. What does she want? Hannah wonders. "Hi there," the woman calls out in a friendly voice. Hannah can see that she's probably in her early 30s and is certainly attractive. She has shoulder-length blonde hair, a good figure, and enviable posture. After a quick glance to check that Teddy is content, Hannah stands up and walks down her porch steps. "Hi, can I help you?" she asks politely. "I was just looking at the house across the street," the other woman says, making her way up the drive. Hannah walks over to meet her, shielding her eyes from the sun with her hand. "Do you mind if I ask you a bit about the neighborhood?" the woman asks. So she's a serious buyer then, Hannah thinks, a bit disappointed. "Sure," she says. "My husband and I are interested in this area. Is it a good place to raise children, do you think?" She nods toward the baby swing on the porch and smiles. "I see you've got a baby." Hannah warms to her then and describes the neighborhood with enthusiasm. Maybe the woman is already pregnant, but not showing yet. At the end of their chat, the woman thanks her and walks back to her car. Hannah realizes she didn't get her name. Oh well, plenty of time for that if she does buy the house. Something niggles at the back of her mind, but she doesn't know what. Teddy starts to cry then, and as she lifts the baby out of the swing, she realizes what it is. The woman hadn't been wearing a wedding ring. No matter, lots of people have families without getting married these days, although she'd mentioned a husband. But who looks at a house without her spouse? Stephanie Kilgore has put the twins down in their cribs upstairs for their morning nap. Now she sits down on the living room sofa for a moment and leans back and closes her eyes. She's so tired that she doesn't know how she actually manages to get up when the babies start crying for her at 6 a.m. Nothing, and no one, could have prepared her for this. She relaxes for a moment, letting her exhausted body sink into the cushions, her head heavy against the pillows. She lets herself go slack. If she's not careful, she might fall asleep just sitting here. And that wouldn't be good. The twins only go down for about half an hour in the morning, and the difficulty of rousing herself after such a short time won't be worth it. She'll get her own rest when the twins have their longer nap in the afternoon. Her baby girls, Emma and Jackie, are the best thing that ever happened to her. But she had no idea it would be this hard, had no sense of the toll it would take on her body and on her mind, too. The effects of protracted sleeplessness are catching up with her. People who knew she was expecting twins, she hadn't made a secret of it, had joked with her about how much more difficult twins would be. She'd merely smiled, delighted with her pregnancy, and was even secretly smug at how good she felt, how easily her body was handling the changes. Stephanie had always been a little bit of a control freak, and she'd spent a lot of time on her birth plan, wanting everything to go just right. She wasn't so complacent that she thought she could do it without drugs, but she wanted to have a normal birth, even with twins. Once they were in the labor suite, though, the plan soon went out the window. She'd ended up with 2 babies in distress and an emergency C-section. Instead of soothing music, low lighting, and controlled breathing, it was all beeping machines, dropping heart rates, swarming medical staff, and being wheeled hurriedly into the operating room. She remembers her husband, Patrick, holding her hand, his face white with fear. What she remembers most, besides her panic as the babies were whisked away to intensive care before she could even hold them, was the convulsive shivering and nausea after the birth. Fortunately, both babies had been fine, healthy, and a good weight. It was hard not to feel like a failure in those early days, struggling with sleepless